Well, we are 3 minutes in. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I have my good friend. Can I call you friend? I feel like I've known this since
Yes.
Talent Factor. My good friend, Mark Good, founder and owner of, why can I remember the name of your company right now?
This is the best. I started a company called AI Force Training
Yes.
before Salesforce decided they wanted generative AI inside the org.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the very first, like, got on top of it as soon as all the chat GPT stuff came out.
Yeah. Before there were AI note takers joining chats on Zoom, there were students working through learning generative AI and what it means for CRM and all the above. Yeah. Do you want me to kind of kick off and just start?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, that's who I am. That's what I do. So since I guess early 23, the company was launched before then, but early 23, we've been training up Salesforce professionals on AI in the Salesforce space, and so it's certainly been a wild ride. Now that we're mid 2025 and pushing the end of the year pretty soon, but a lot has happened. It is pretty wild to be on this journey. I was following AI before, specifically this generative type of AI before it was called generative AI, long before ChatGPT came along. So, and then I was also a Salesforce professional during that time as well, doing solo admin work, also doing consulting work, and eventually did my own consultancy doing Salesforce work. So then when generative AI rolled out, it was just sort of a match made in heaven. I launched my own company, and since then we've just been full force training on whatever the latest AI is within the space, specifically within the Salesforce space. I follow everything that's going on outside the Salesforce space, but that's not my focus. So I boil it all down to what we all need to know as professionals. So just right off the bat, it'd be cool to know, just a quick show of hands, who all has, I guess it's wild now. The experience level is so wide, but if you hold any given AI cert, if you could just raise your hand, I'd love to see it on the screen quickly. Digital hand or real hand. I see some real hands. And then also I'll follow up with another question. Any of you digging into agents yet? So a couple digital hands rolling in. A couple of those digging into agents, which is great. Yeah, so I'll at least just start and say, from an AI in Salesforce 101 perspective, your objective is to learn all you can as fast as you can with AI in the Salesforce space. Even if you think it's hype cycle, even if you think you might not need it because you'll eventually lose your job because AI is going to take over anyway. The reality is that we're in a very volatile and changing environment, to say the least. I think you all probably know that and feel that in some way. And AI is the tech that is sort of reshaping this market. The note takers on this call, I'll keep going back to you all. Put this in your notes. You are sometimes not welcome. The agents that we're going to see rolling out at times in the coming future will not be welcome because they will in some way be stepping on our toes. And so we will just need to keep evolving with the tech and with the market. And that just means we need to be digging in and using the tools that are available to us. And even when Salesforce is pushing Agentforce so hard and we worry that it's not even going to hit in the market, we haven't seen necessarily seen like really amazing agents that people have built and they're deployed and working, and we want to build those ourselves. There aren't a lot of those yet. But I'll say that the tool set Agentforce is maturing over time. Salesforce is adding features and functionality to it that make a lot of sense. I run the Agentforce Bootcamp, and as I'm bringing students through learning Agentforce, we are finding the features that Salesforce is adding to Agentforce, and we are finding how it works really well for the solutions we're looking for. And I'll say too, with Agentforce, it's really a creative space to be in right now. Again, there's not like a template. Here's an agent that you definitely need. Here's how you build it. Go build it and deploy it. That doesn't necessarily exist just yet. So it's really it's a space of creativity. It's a space of spending a lot of time to build a thing and trial things out and work things out on your own. And so I would just say that it takes a lot of time and a lot of reps and sort of learning these skill sets for the AI tools that we have on the platform right now they're still really hard. It's not like Flow Builder, point and click, drag and drop, and then you've got your process, you test it and you walk away because you can put it in production. We're beyond that now. And so, just want to encourage you all to keep digging in, keep learning as much as you can with your free time, or paid time at work. I always love that. And skill up as much as possible. Show of hands, who all if anybody, got the AI associate cert before that expired? Yeah, several. Nice. I'll tell you something we did at AI Force. So we recognized that the value of the AI associate cert maybe isn't as much as the market was looking for when Salesforce rolled it out. However, I disagree that Salesforce should retire that certification altogether. It is an intro cert. It does show intent to start learning AI and start learning how it impacts us and really the fundamentals of what AI is. So if you haven't earned that cert yet, no worries. If you go to our site, we've got, and if you don't see it there, actually, I don't know where the link is specifically right now, but you can just connect with me on LinkedIn. Actually, I'll drop it in the chat. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you want it. I'll shoot you a link to we have a free AI fundamentals for CRM. Basically, it's the AI associate course, but now if Salesforce doesn't have the cert, we've got a cert for it as well. So we launched that just last week, actually. We rolled that out. The same test that you would have taken for the AI associate, you use that to get the AI fundamentals for CRM certification. So if you're interested in that, you can certainly go through that process. And really all that still applies, all that fundamental knowledge about generative AI, how it works, how it gets integrated within emails within Salesforce, and all the things that were on the AI associate course material is all there. And so I think that's really helpful. These things all layer on. So once you have that fundamental knowledge and you're ready to move on from building out like sales email with Prompt Builder, and you're ready to move on into agents, then that is the next frontier. That's like the latest and greatest frontier. You all know that with Agentforce, right? Salesforce does offer free classes. So if you haven't heard about that, we've got to sign up for an alert system on our site. You definitely want to get into some of those free classes. You're not going to walk away with the skills that you need to just go out and build agents on your own. But what you will walk away is some of the fundamental knowledge about building agents. Salesforce has built out some really nice content on Trailhead when you're going to get your badges. They've got the Agentforce Innovator and the Agentforce Champion badges available on Trailhead. So if you work through those, they've got some really nice build alongs, again, just to give you some reps with building agents, but everything is sort of curated and structured for you again. So it's not like you're talking with a client or a stakeholder and you're just brainstorming what kind of agent you want to build. Everything is laid out for you in a path. And so those are really good reps to have, but your objective is to get those reps in and then move beyond that, because at some point you got to get to the point where you can sit down, much like you do with Flow. You have an end result in mind, an objective you need to achieve. And so you can sit down, conceptualize an agent you need to build, think about all of the elements that go into building that agent, making it work, build the agent, test the agent, iterate on the instructions, iterate on your actions, and then ultimately get it into production. And that is the key. That's at the end of the day, that's where the value comes from. And once we get more agents in production in the marketplace, we'll see the impact of that over time. For example, there are some Agentforce positions being posted already with consultancies and final clients, but there's not a lot. It's not like you just go out and you'd see a bunch of Agentforce listings just yet, but those are coming. You probably all know this already, but Mark Benioff has this concept of Salesforce is selling digital labor, essentially. And so if he's going to deliver on that, they're going to continue pushing the message about digital labor via agents. And so if you're someone who can build an agent that can do a specific function and do it well, and deploy it into production, then you'll be a valuable professional in the AI space for Salesforce. And so that's to me, that's really important. I know I'm a little biased as this is the space that I exist in always. But I just think it's really important. I think, you know, there's a feature within Agentforce that's not been promoted but exists, and it's an agent to help you with admin setup. And I haven't spent a lot of time on it yet, but just thinking about Salesforce going down that route, you know, there could be a day within the next 5 years, say, I don't know the timeline, but there could be a day where you don't point and click in setup very often, and really a chat with an agent via Agentforce or an internal Agentforce copilot is what you would be using. That would be how you configure your org. You might have seen, if you follow me, we did a session not too long ago, I guess now. It's on our AI, what do we call it? AI Force Plus, where we stream live sessions with various people who are smart in the AI space and with Salesforce. And a company created a tool where you can prompt the tool, and then it builds out custom objects, custom fields, custom permission sets for you within Salesforce. And so I think Salesforce will be doing the same, something similar to that. And they're going to deliver on that eventually. And so it won't be long until we aren't doing the point and click within the org to do configuration. I think it'll still be there. The UI will still be there for a long time, but the skill set's changing. And so it's just really important that we sort of keep track of that and follow along and make sure we're slowly upskilling along the way. I used to think we had to run. I don't think we have to run anymore as much. I guess it's been 2 years-ish now, and the whole world didn't like change overnight. And it's taking a really long time for companies, consultancies, individuals to adopt the tools, to adopt the new tech, and to roll it out as new processes within your workflow and within the organization. I still think if you want to be at the forefront of it all, then run and get as much as you can and promote your credentials and get a position that's maybe even focused within the AI space, like an Agentforce program manager, or just an Agentforce admin, essentially, or a consulting position doing Agentforce work projects. I think that's always very helpful to stand out at the front of the crowd. And it'll just put you in a great position. I'll take a pause for a second here. If you have any burning questions, I'm going to glance at the chat. I don't see any. But if you have any burning questions, you're welcome to come off mute and open up the chat a bit. I see a comment from Kevin. I'm sorry, Kelvin. Current Agentforce jobs are architect level. Yeah, for sure. Right now, the current state of Agentforce is such that it's more of an architect type level that would be able to take that agent and deliver on it. I would say there's a lot of BA skill in there. One of the things that we do during the Agentforce bootcamp is designing your agent via a process. So laying out your process for which the agent will follow before you even deliver on your agent. So you've got to define your process, know what your agent's going to do, then build it and deliver it. But yeah, architects for sure. Developers, it's really heavy in a lot of different core areas. A lot of the value within Agentforce right now is that you can connect it to third parties. And so when your users are chatting with the agent has like a wider array of actions that it can use. One of the scenarios that was built out within one of our boot camps by someone named Phipps is he implemented an API from a developer perspective, an API connection to Twilio. And so when a user comes to the agent, just like it would with a human or even with like a website, you can have it send a one-time password to someone's phone number that's associated with their account, so you can verify them, and you can have your Agentforce agent do that. So you can do connections like that. I've got one where there's a handoff between an agent. So if you're chatting with an agent on a website, and then you decide you want to switch it to phone, because I'm on the go, people are on the go, we do this, And so you can be chatting with an agent, and then the agent will summarize the chat and then send it to another agent, a third party agent, not from Salesforce, but it would summarize the chat and send it to that agent. And then that agent will give you a phone call and just pick up the call right where you left off so you can transition and be on the go. And that's a really like advanced solution overall. But it's just one of the big promises with agents. So developers have a great opportunity to deliver on that. And even non-developers, to be honest. So anyone who's like just inclined well enough to go to tools like Claude and ChatGPT and ask for a little bit of Apex, and you learn how to inject it into your org. Start with your sandbox, please. Then you can deliver some really cool solutions, even if you're not a dev. So if you've got a specific scenario you want to gun for, you can do that. I always recommend that if you do that, then make sure you're running that code by someone who has some knowledge, just to be able to give it that green light that, yeah, even though it works, it's secure and that you haven't exposed anything that you shouldn't in the org to anyone that you shouldn't in the org. But developers have a heavy hand in making sure that agents become extremely useful in the future, including Salesforce recently launched the ability to interact with a Salesforce Agentforce agent via API, meaning so if you're on a third-party service, say you're working with a company or a client who has a process, I know it sounds very generic, but they have a process, and within that process, you want to call an agent that's built within Agentforce to do a thing and deliver a response or an action within Salesforce or beyond, because it can kind of be a pass-through because agents can connect to other things. So you can make that happen. You can call an agent from a third-party service, call into Agentforce and do things. And I think that's really cool as well. And we're sort of the market is opening up in a really broad kind of way, and we're still waiting to see where everyone reaches out and finds value and grabs that value and uses it. One of the things I'll say, is this recorded? One of the things I'll say, I'll temper it just a little bit, but I'll still speak the truth, that every time Salesforce, specifically Mark Benioff, Mark, if you see this, give me a shout. I'm on LinkedIn. Every time they promote that they've launched an agent with a customer, I go to that customer's website and I look for that agent, and then I go to use that agent. Secret safe with us. We'll see about that, Ben. I go and use that agent, and I'm a little bit perplexed about why Salesforce is promoting that customer using that agent. So I think that the speed at which everyone's trying to work to develop the AI processes that we'll be moving toward is so fast that we're sort of tripping over ourselves a little bit. And I think Salesforce doesn't necessarily have yet, or maybe it's proprietary and they're not showing us yet, or maybe they're waiting for some more runway to see how well it all shakes out. But we're not really seeing those big aha stories just yet. It's more like copy paste. Hey, here's another customer who implemented a Agentforce chatbot on their website. Oh, and it's just for frequently asked questions for customers. And then they give some stats about how great it is and how many customers it's helped. And while all that's cool and that's implemented, it's not really the version of Agentforce that I have in my head. If I'm taking on a client, that's not what I'm pitching and promoting to a client. There are a lot of valuable processes within your customers' orgs and your clients' orgs. And basically anywhere where you see a human has to make a decision is an opportunity for an agent to step in. So the real question is, can you find the highest value process, meaning like the process where if you were to go in and deploy an agent and the agent makes those decisions based on how the human would make those decisions with logic, and then the agent takes the action that the human would take, and this is a brand new automation that didn't exist before that you can do now, finding those high value process steps, that's where the real value is. And yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit longer before we see some of those really great stories come out. I'm going to read the chat for a sec. Yeah, Salesforce doesn't really do soft openings like how restaurants have soft openings. They just go all in 100%. And Salesforce's revenue relies on this as well. They need to look like they're a market leader with AI, so much so that I see the Boston Dynamics partnership where they're doing the robotics and pushing that. I see them pushing a heavy focus now for a moment into the manufacturing sector, which I think is totally crazy because the manufacturing sector, I think, will be the last sector to adopt anything super digital and AI. I see you nodding your head, Emily, in agreement. Yes. Manufacturing's slow, but yeah. So kind of to pull that all back into one main point is you all see this. It is a very noisy out there, but even within all the noise, your objective is to learn as much as you can, as fast as you can, stay at a nice steady pace, making sure you don't burn out, continue to digest what's coming, the AI news, what's coming with Agentforce and what's happening. I've been saying this for 2 years now. Do not sit on the sidelines. I would say I put out a post about this, or at least maybe I scheduled one. Back 2 years ago, I was talking really heavy about prompt engineering and how important it was for you to understand, just understanding an AI model, like when you go use ChatGPT, like what exactly is happening behind the scenes there. And if you didn't learn that then, and now you still have to learn that, you're at a disadvantage because others have taken that knowledge and now they're in Prompt Builder and creating an automation within Salesforce that's AI driven that can deliver a solution. And if you, when Prompt Builder first came out, if you dug in a little bit and you have some understanding of it and you got some hands on and maybe delivered a solution or two, even if it's not in production, and you've gotten comfortable with it, well, now we have Agentforce. And guess what? Prompt engineering was important for Prompt Builder, and now Prompt Builder is important for Agentforce. And so you kind of see where this is going. If you're not skilling up, you really are falling behind. Not only that, think about as we move forward here, there are technologies, or it's really like protocols being delivered or invented in the AI market, and that is MCP's Model Context Protocol. And now there's going to be an agent-to-agent protocol, we think is developing now, very recent. But what's about to happen is agents aren't specific to Agentforce. They're part of other markets as well. What's about to happen is anything that's an agent is going to have the ability to communicate with every other tool around you. So any tool that has an API interface, which is almost all of them, that's not Salesforce, anything outside Salesforce, agents will be able to go out and reach out and talk to those tools effectively. And I don't mean like developers configuring. I'm talking more like point and click style. Like as an admin, you could point and click and say, yeah, I want to connect to this thing. And then the agent will be able to interface with that other thing and actually take actions in that other system that you define or you say you want your users to be able to take. So that's Model Context Protocol, an interface to connect with other things. And then an agent-to-agent protocol where if you build an agent with an Agentforce and there's an agent that's built on some other, I don't know, Microsoft or wherever, then your agent that you built might be able to just talk directly with that agent that was built. And remember, both agents in the background have actions that they can perform within their own systems, and both agents in the background have actions they can perform with a bunch of other tools in the space. So you worked on super basic learning how to prompt engineering. Then you learned prompt engineering feeding into things like a prompt builder to do automations. Then we have a chat interface called agents that take things like flow actions, a prompt builder, using your prompt engineering, and then you need prompt engineering within the agent to create the agent. And then we're going to have the agent go out and talk with other agents and coordinate global scale actions between major companies. And the goal of all of this is to automate in some way your business processes, your company's business processes. That's where we are. At least that's where we are right now. 5 to 10 years, it could be totally different. We could have scaled up from here, but the breadth of knowledge that you're going to need in order to be a major player in this ecosystem is very wide. And so skill up. I see like Zapier in the chat. What's your favorite newsletter for staying informed on AI developments? Yikes. I follow the Salesforce blog pretty closely. So they do articles with the Salesforce side AI stuff. I put stuff out randomly, so I don't have an actual newsletter for it. I wish I did. And if you would love to write a newsletter on AI, I'm happy to connect with you on that. I've got, there's a couple in the marketplace. If I don't remember the names of them, but I get like 3 in my inbox, sadly, one every day. It's terrible. And then I skim it for 5 seconds and I click one article, maybe tops, and then move along. You'll find one. I don't have one, but like Zapier, yes, Zapier is exactly one. So Anthropic, which makes Claude, which is a competitor to ChatGPT, put out a video, I think it was yesterday, announcing an integration of sorts with Zapier, where through this MCP, this model context protocol, if you go to Claude and you say, hey, I need to do this, here's the action I need to take, it will connect to Zapier, which then connects to any automation you've built on Zapier, with it, which then connects you out. So that exists now. That's already here, very recent. But yes, just like Zapier, you have your integrations within Zapier. You will have that style of integration, just talking with an agent, chat agent like Claude or Agentforce, but you don't even have to set up the integration or the actions for the actions within Zapier. Essentially, you would be able to just say something like, let's say I'm what, I don't even have a good example. I wish I had one off the top of my head, but let's say your Zapier integration sends an email to a specific person when a specific sale is made within your org. Okay, scratch that. I don't have a good example, so I'm not going to fumble through it. But yes, similar to Zapier, Model Context Protocol is building on top of the infrastructure that we already have. Definitely need more hands-on practice. Building agents, where do you suggest one can go to build agents? Great question. All right, I'm going to walk you through this. First of all, I would go directly to Trailhead. Obviously, there are some trails building out agents. Those are very walk through, point and click. You're going to build just a little bit of reps on walking through those agents, working through your agent innovator, agent champion badges, and working towards your Agentforce specialist certification. You'll be building agents. That's step 1. I would say step 2 is either via your own DIY route or through a training platform like the Agentforce Bootcamp we run. You want to start building from scratch. You want to be able to go from, I have a concept from my company or a client, to here's what I think I need to do to build it, to I'm building it. And you need to have hands-on doing that. So you can do a DIY route, or we run a 4-week boot camp where you can essentially go from zero, and we take you through basically what I said in the beginning. It's prompt engineering to prompt builder, coordinating that with flows to take action in the org, and then bring it all into Agentforce and actually building out agents from scratch. That's how you can do that. I'm subscribed to Superhuman for my AI news so far. Cool. That's a good one. So yeah, that's where you're going to get experience building. If you haven't yet, you can get a developer org from Salesforce. The developer orgs now have Agentforce enabled, and they also have Data Cloud enabled in them as well. And so there's a lot of configuration to do. There's a lot of screens to get through. And then even after you get through all of that, the prompt engineering that you have to do around building the instructions for your agents is very challenging. And the thought process you have to have in your mind for building an effective agent, it's very specific. And you don't get that without actually walking through and trying to build from scratch. So that's what we focus on in Agentforce Bootcamp. Actually, we partnered with an amazing person, Dominic DeFazio. He and his team won the Agentforce hackathon in New York in 2024. And he's been doing some pretty cool stuff with Agentforce, actually working with clients, actually delivering solutions. So he is well informed in the market on how to actually deliver these agents and crush it. So yeah, that's your ultimate goal. If you can step up to agent builder within Salesforce, and you can construct an actual agent that works well enough that you could actually deploy to a customer, and when they go to put in their chat questions or their chat utterances, and the agent does what you would expect it to do, you're winning. Like, you've won the Agentforce game as far as we are today. So that's how you know you're all caught up with where we are in the AI space. If you're someone who is hearing all of these terms and you're like, I have no clue, this is crazy, like, can't we just get back to admin work? Yes, you can. But I would highly recommend you check out the AI associate cert content, which is now our CRM AI fundamentals, because yeah, your mind's going to be blown as you step forward into like what we can actually do here. I said it earlier. It's like, if you've got a human decision that needs to be made, an agent can do that now, and it's yet to be seen how far we take it as an ecosystem for doing jobs that we currently do. It's quite interesting. I joined this call a little bit late. I see you. Agentforce Bootcamp also benefit folks who are targeting this project manager, business analyst career. Yes. Project management, business analysts, architects, devs, admins, it's all there. The solutions that are going to be built out on Agentforce are going to be very wide ranged. The skill sets that you learn as you go through and you're conceptualizing an agent that you want to build, and then going through that build process, those are very transferable skills. Even though we're talking about the Salesforce platform, in this economy today, being able to build an agent and deliver that is that's fantastic. That's where you want to be. Like, if you can say that you can do that and you have a credential for it, that's going to look really great on a resume. I was speaking with someone. I should look at the attendees on the call. Yeah. Okay. I was speaking with someone a few days ago. They were at an event, and the event was actually just a demo for, like, a company was doing a demo, and the demo was for their own product, but it was an agentic style product, not inside Salesforce. But this person had gone through the boot camp, built agents, and had enough technical knowledge that they were asking questions during the demo. And the people doing the demo actually approached them afterwards, and they were having a chat. This person is actually in the market for a job, and they ended up going for an interview to work for this company because they have the knowledge on what an agent is and how an agent works, and like behind the scenes, like how is an agent coordinated and what all goes into the engineering of an agent. And so I'm really stoked for her. I'm excited to see how that shakes out over the next couple of days. She goes on for a second, third interview, and that would be the first instance where I know directly that it was definitely all the skill sets learned in building agents that led to an agent associated job. All the jobs that have been landed before now have been like AI has been an add-on to, not that the role is AI. It was like an add-on. This would be the first one that would be AI direct. And so with Agentforce positions showing up and roles like this being landed, I think there's just more to come, and it only takes a year or two for things to flesh out that way. AI is a therapist, coach, life coach, and mentor. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You can jump on ChatGPT or Claude and use these tools for effectively anything. And the list, the application of those tools is growing as OpenAI and Anthropic are competing on the quality of their models and the value that they can provide to companies and individuals. It's it's blowing up. It's blowing up really fast. And so, yeah, if you're not, you definitely want to be playing around with these tools, and especially the free versions. You can just get on and use the free versions. They can do a lot of things. Like I said earlier, if you're not a dev, but you want to deliver some dev type solutions, you can do it. It's cool. It's wild. Take a breath for any more comments or questions. See if there's anything else that was really important to me in this first half here. Coding. So for all the devs out there, I just attended a Salesforce Live a couple days ago, an AMA. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff that's rolling out from a dev's perspective, and the whole landscape is changing about how we code, and the code that gets, the amount of code that gets generated versus the amount of code that is human written or human audited. Even we're at the point now where in the not in the Salesforce space, but outside the Salesforce space, coding tools are becoming very agentic. So you open up the tool, and you state the requirements for what needs to be built, and then you can walk away. Sometimes not. Sometimes you have to approve things, and you come back, and it's not perfect. Just like when we're generating tokens 2 years ago, it wasn't perfect. But you will have a stack of files in your IDE with all of the code that you need to deliver the solution, and you got to go through it and work it out. But it's getting really good, and I can only imagine that gets better over time. But the dev landscape, I think, is changing, and I think that it'll just be that thing where 5 years, 10 years from now, we'll look back and it's like, oh, you still code? Yeah, well, I actually learned to code, and from now on, it will be students who are just showing up to the coding space as junior developers. They're learning how to use the tools to code, and so they won't know exactly what seniors know that existed, that were in the space before the tool existed. My sister and I use ChatGPT as a translator for our elderly mother with early dementia. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's amazing. Heart that one. Yeah. If you're trying to freelance consult, is there an 80/20 of what is most popular at this time for customers? Customers don't know. They don't get it. They just know that Agentforce is out there, and they know that AI is out there, and there are agents, and there's all kinds of tools, and they're just like, they've bought some stuff, they've been burnt some, they've used some things that they thought were going to work, and it just didn't quite work out. And so really right now we're still in the I'll describe it as you have to be the knowledgeable person. You need to be able to look at what they're doing, what their processes are, and then identify and suggest areas that they can use AI within their org or within their processes. Some of the quickest things to go to, which Salesforce is doing it, right, is customer support. Oftentimes it's if you've got documentation that has all the answers to all the questions, and you can make a customer support agent available via an email or via phone service, then that's really great. And that's a really quick, easy one to deliver on. There are lots of tools out there for that right now. But within Salesforce, it would be via Agentforce, and you would use Data Cloud to upload your documentation, to create that library, and then you would expose that to your agent, and then you'd have to use proper prompt engineering to have the agent respond correctly, and that would go on the experience site. That's the typical scenario that we see coming from Salesforce and being delivered over and over by customers. And in some way, they're smart for doing that. If they stay in that zone, they'll get it right, and they'll make sure that Agentforce is delivered in the right way. Like all the elements exist to make sure that runs smoothly every time, and that when that gets turned on for customers, they keep it on. It's pretty good so far, I would say, but it just needs the right person to implement it. Other really common things, I think, are internally, like the internal agent. Some people still call it a co-pilot, but this is exposing to your internal users. And so like anything that you think your internal users might need, you can use Agentforce to help them achieve their goals faster by automating a process. So I really like the internal agent. It's much faster to develop. It's much faster to deploy. There's no experience site work. There's no like right now you've got to use some old architecture that's meant for chatbots within Salesforce to set up the messaging properly to deliver messages from an experience site if it's an external facing agent back to the agent. So there's a lot of setup there. It's kind of messy, and building an internal agent is really quick and easy. There's one agent, it's there, you can dig in, start adding instructions, start adding actions, start connecting in some flows that can do things in the org, and then having your internal users chat with it. It's really nice. I'm still not sure on cost on the internal agent, so I don't know how to sell on that one yet, but I think it's consumption based and not the $2 conversation. I think the $2 conversation is for external agents only. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I think it's easier to sell the internal one. From your perspective, how is Salesforce with AI being used in the healthcare and financial services industries? I don't know. I don't know specific answers to that. Every promoted use case I've seen so far has been customer support. That has been the main focus. I know that there have been other things that have been published, but I haven't seen anything specific. And specifically for the financial services industry, I've seen more hesitation to dig into the AI tool sets, given that the data needs to be protected, and I assume the same exists with healthcare. Although I think Salesforce did publish a customer story in healthcare recently, but I didn't digest it just yet. It's pretty recent, so I'll have to go back and look at that. The thing is, no matter the industry, you as an individual who knows the processes within the organization, or at least has access to the stakeholders who can tell you about the processes if you're looking to learn about one, if you understand how Agentforce works and how to build with it and how it's going to navigate once you prompt it, what you'll start to see is that pretty much anything can be automated. It's pretty wild. You've got to feed the agent with the right context. So the right data has got to be pulled. But when you pull the right context and you give it the right prompt, and then you give it the action it can take, really that's the trifecta. That's the entire process there. We as humans do that all the time, every day. We have an input, we have our knowledge, our context, and then we take an action. And so that's what Agentforce can do. And so, I would say, don't wait until you have specific use cases within an industry. Oftentimes what you're going to see is when you find out what those use cases are, they're going to be very big and complex, and they won't be something that you, unless you're on a big team, like working on Agentforce projects, and typically you're going to find those within the consultancies. If you're not on a big team like that, you're not going to be delivering those solutions. Now, maybe you could look into those solutions and pick out different things that maybe you can use locally. So that'd be kind of nice. But I wouldn't. I would just dig in and see what you can find. Essentially, right now we're again in a very creative space, and you would be the one to be coming up with solutions. Guaranteed, there's things being deployed, but you won't hear about them for a long time. What is the most in-demand Agentforce role? And if I've missed a question, will you all just copy it, put it back in the queue? What is the most in-demand Agentforce role that you have been seeing in the market recently, and which markets? Again, I haven't seen many positions posted that are directly, hey, this is an Agentforce position. The ones that I have seen are with consultants, and I've heard rumblings about individual companies looking to hire personnel with Agentforce experience because they're looking at Agentforce, but not a lot of, hey, we've got Agentforce and we need someone to come implement this stuff. And then even if they do have that, they don't know what they're using it for. Like they got sold by Salesforce, but they don't have like they've got a pie in the sky idea, but not concrete examples that are going to be deliverables. So yeah, I just don't have an answer for that yet. We're a little too early, or maybe I'm just not exposed in the right areas of the market. It's really hard to effectively run a an in-depth training camp with like hands-on experience every month and keep up with all of the industry as well. Anita, thanks for dropping those links in the chat. It's really helpful. Can you explain the difference between topics and actions in Agentforce? I've built agents and I'm still not understanding. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Okay. So fundamentally, when you have an agent built, a topic is at the top level. So imagine your agent. It all depends on what scope you have for your agent. Like, what do you want your agent to be doing? But the top level is your topics. This is like if you have an agent for your whole company, let's say, you would have a topic called HR. So anything related to HR and doing HR things would be under that topic. Then you might have a topic called production. Anything that's related to producing products goes under there. You might have a topic for customer support. Anything that goes under there would be related to helping customers. Those are your topics. Instructions. Instructions are the next layer. So I'm not going to hit actions until I talk about instructions. Every topic has either one or multiple or one huge instruction. And so when the agent has a request, it looks first and says, which of these topics apply? And then it picks up on a topic. So let's say this is an HR request. They want to change their date of leave, a couple months from now. And so the agent says, okay, this is an HR request. I'm choosing the HR topic. Once it's chosen the HR topic, it then pulls up the topic. The agent's like, okay, well, what's in this topic? And then it knows the scope of the topic and it looks at the instructions. Inside that topic are the instructions that you've given it. And once it reads those instructions, it then knows what to do and it does things. And the things that it does are whatever actions you've assigned to it. So I chose my topic, I read the instructions for that topic, and now I'm the agent thinking, okay, which action am I going to do, if any, or am I just going to reply to the user? So then in your instructions, you're going to be telling the agent, if you did this, if you did that, if these are told you this, if it's here's a rule and here's a guardrail, and oh my goodness, there's 3 actions here. And so if they did this, then you got to do this action, but if they do this, you do this action. And you build all that out in your instructions. And then so when the agent reads the instructions, it's going to follow the instructions and take an action or not. And maybe it takes a couple of actions that are available within that specific topic. So kind of like, a pyramid, we drill down into the agent's level of processes, topics, instructions within your topic, and then the actions that may be taken based off of the request from the user. And I hope that's helpful. Yeah, thumbs up. Good. Okay, great. Topics, instructions, and actions are sort of the basic core elements of Agentforce itself, of the tool set. If you've been through, you'll want to go through the free live training from Salesforce. They got a couple. There's like one on Prompt Builder, one on starting with your first agent. Those are really great. It puts you in a room with others that are learning the same thing. It puts you in front of Salesforce as well, and you get the opportunity to ask questions. You get the opportunity to build along, although, like I said, everything's sort of like structured, so it's going to flow somewhat smoothly, hopefully. But it's just really good to get those reps in and do that. Okay, so I was talking to an AE in Colorado that says a bunch of small businesses are buying Agentforce but didn't have any examples of implementation. That's hilarious. Salesforce is doing really well. They know what to do. They're selling Agentforce. They got to get Agentforce in the hands of users. That's step one, because us as builders, we can't talk with our company and start building things if we don't actually have it. But at the same time, if a company buys Agentforce but doesn't have someone to build something and deliver it, well, that doesn't help either. And so again, we're kind of at this strange standoff, chicken or egg, and it's all sort of rolling along together. There's the Salesforce is delivering the tools, they're pushing it out to customers, and they're trying to also push it out to build us admins, developers, architects. And so when all the things come together, we'll actually be building things. The challenge right now is it's very hard, as Emily alluded to. As Emily alluded to, it's very hard to build an agent from the ground up. Even the Salesforce has the standard actions within the org. So you can open up an agent, drag a couple of actions in after you created a topic and instructions. And then if you try to chat and have the agent do what you expected it to do with the actions, it just doesn't work often. I mean, it just falls apart. And so not only do you have to know how the interface comes together to do what you want it to do, you also then have to know, well, Salesforce has a standard action for this, so I should use that. Great. But what does that action actually do? Like, how does it actually work? Because it's being bolted into the agent, and the agent is looking at it, and it has inputs, and it has outputs, and it has requirements, and it has, sometimes it uses the chat, sometimes it doesn't. It's very complex. And so you can't just use the standard actions. So that's why our focus at the Agentforce Bootcamp is building from ground up. If you can build from ground up, you can fundamentally understand all of the different elements and how it comes together and why the agent responds the way it does when you're building it. And I think when a company, a small business, has purchased Agentforce, and when they either have a consulting partner or an individual who actually knows how to build an agent from the ground up, then whether it's standard actions or all custom actions, you can actually deliver a real solution that can be implemented. And when we have enough momentum of real solutions that are implemented, we're going to be in a really great space, and you'll hear stories about it as they do. And we are for the Agentforce Bootcamp, we are 3 months in. I think our first bootcamp group was in February. We have a couple more planned coming up, but these professionals are just out in the marketplace right now. Some of them, their companies don't have Agentforce, so they're having those conversations about purchasing what's needed to get Agentforce brought to the org. Some of them do have Agentforce exposure, and so now they're just on the front lines, starting to go through the process of working on first proof of concepts, and then moving on to actually delivering a deployed agent. So I think probably the second half of this year, we should see some really great stuff coming back. At least me on a personal level, I'll be able to have the stories related to what's being deployed in the market, what's working, what's not working, and where the take rate is on Agentforce overall. Because I'll stop there. I really appreciate Lacey. Is it possible to develop an agent tailored to address the unique needs of specific industry or problem and potentially sell it on the App Exchange? Yes. And do you think there would be demand for such a solution? Yes. 100%. App Exchange is wide open right now for agent. Agent Exchange is what's called, I think. It is wide open right now. The competition is like, I don't know, you can see off into the distance and there's nobody doing anything, is what it looks like. But the reality is there are people, smart people who are behind the scenes that are wrestling with agents, trying to make them do specific things to make sure that they can deploy on the App Exchange. And I assume there will be some really good stuff coming up on the App Exchange. I wish I had the time. I would build some of my own for industry solutions. But yes, here's the big challenge if you're going to go that direction. I think it's fantastic, first of all, and probably you'll make great money doing it. I assume. I don't know how all that shakes out, but the big challenge is getting the niche right. So you got to hope that whatever market you're looking to build into, that they're being sold Agentforce right now, and so that they've got the need. So like, you don't need an App Exchange agent if you don't have Agentforce. That's first of all. Second of all, you're going to be building an agent, and it's going to be very challenging to get it to do exactly what you want. You're going to spend a lot of time on updating the instructions and fleshing out the actions and really making sure that agent does what it's supposed to do. Because once it gets into your customer's hands off the agent exchange, it better work, because that's what everybody wants. They want the turnkey solution that just works. So you'll have to niche down your use case like low enough so that it just works. And then I would say then you can expand from there and add on different features and do different things and make updates. But try to keep it as simple as you can at first, because that's one of the big challenges for everyone who does the Agentforce Bootcamp. They come out and they start working on their capstone project. They want the agent to do all these amazing things. And so the first step is to pare it all the way down to make it do at least a couple of things really well first, and then you can start expanding from there. It's just too much to wrestle with when it comes to making the agent execute the right way based on whatever utterance you give it. Okay, just a quick breath. Do we have until 4? Is this like 2 minutes left, or do we have some time to keep going a little bit? Or where are we at?
2 minutes left, but if you want to keep going, you can.
I'll go all day. Hey, as long as there's somebody in this chat, I'll keep going. Is that okay? Even if you want to drop. Okay, I'll keep going. We'll see where we end up. Appreciate you saying that Agentforce requires so many reps in fully grasping concepts. Yes. A lot. The planning is so incredibly important as well. Yes. Okay, planning. I've seen so many students go out and start building without planning, and then we ended up implementing and saying, no, you have to plan first, even requiring process diagram about how your agent's going to respond. Even now we've upped the ante a little bit and said, okay, now you got to come up with like 5 to 10 utterances that you would expect an end user to come with, and you got to document those. And then while you're building your agent, you got to keep checking, because every time you make updates to your agent, you're changing the way it functions, and you got to go through your utterances and just make sure it's clocking the way you expect it to. Planning is so incredibly important, because I've seen students take an agent where I would think everything will be under one topic and split it up into multiple topics. I've seen students create an agent with one topic that I would think that the topics should be split up into multiple topics. Did I just say that? I hope I said it in reverse. Both ways. So planning is key. Planning is key. The meeting schedule is about to end. Oh, this is Firefly's note taker giving us some cool info here. Thanks, Firefly. What is the cost to a company to get Agentforce? Oh, that one's wild. It's a big question. So Agentforce, the cost for Agentforce is kind of all over the place. It's $2 per conversation for the external facing agents, but I know you can negotiate with your AEs and get discounts there. Internal agents, I think that's true, along with Prompt Builder and other internal AI solutions, go based off of credits. And I know they have you buy like a block of credits, so you have to sort of forecast. You sort of have to forecast how many credits you might use. So what I've seen companies do is get a block of credits based on just a wild forecast of how many they would use, and then you sort of adjust as you go. There is, with foundations, you get free usage. So if you install foundations and you go through that process, you can sort of start using it and see if you have a specific use case. You flesh it out and you start looking at how many tokens or how many credits that it uses up. You can start to think about what a forecast might look like for usage there. But, I don't have good comments on pricing outside of what I just mentioned. Yeah. Keep going. I need an agent to merge duplicate contacts for me this afternoon. Fair. Oh gosh. This is really interesting to me to think about. Agents. Yeah, I actually I don't want to go too deep on this call. All right. Thanks so much. I need to jump on a client call. That's awesome. All right. I think we made it through all the comments. If I missed any, you want to drop them at the bottom there. But I appreciate all y'all's time. I know this is a lot of me talking, but I hope that, listening to some of my feedback, that you see kind of where we are, kind of where we're going, kind of maybe what you need to be looking into if you're not. And even if you are looking into something, maybe you heard, something that sort of shifts the way you're thinking about it or where we might end up. yeah, any other comments or feedback? All right. Very helpful. Okay. Um, appreciate the picture of what's going on, not covered in AE quotas. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate a picture of what's going on that's not covered in AE's quotas. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, AEs were pressure. I actually know someone who said they didn't want Agent Force, but the AE got them to buy it for $1 a year just so that they could get it sold. I wonder how many stories are going around like that. Oh man, yeah. If y'all haven't connected with me on LinkedIn, please do. If you've considered the Agent Force Bootcamp, I highly recommend it. Obviously, unbiased, but like you can dig in, and within 4 weeks, you can really have something to show for it, some confidence. We've got an Agent Force engineering certification that goes along with it. You've probably seen a couple of those pop out on LinkedIn. Just some really cool stuff we're doing, and you can be guaranteed that we'll just continue on and be building more skills as we go forward. And Salesforce is going to roll out some new cool stuff. So, all right, recordings in the session. I'm sure there's a recording, and I bet Anita's going to let you know when she gets back off of her other call where that's going to go. So, yeah, go grab it. All right, thanks everyone.